Now a word about Bud Light. I could freaking care less. If they want to run an ad campaign that's going to kill off all their business, that's their business. The only real tragedy here is if they do go under, how many Americans will lose their jobs and livelihood because of Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light's poor judgment. What I'm more concerned about is a political party occupying the White House calling half of the country terrorists because we don't agree with their version or destruction of the Constitution. I'm more concerned that American-based companies are allowed to violate the First Amendment of the Constitution. Anheuser-Busch, I could care less. Small potatoes compared to the rest of it. I'm all for the idea that they're a private company, they can do what they want. I'm totally down with that. Until you violate the Constitution of your country of origin. That I have a problem with. Because free speech is, according to my understanding, is across the board. No matter what new technology might emerge or what have you, those principles should always apply. And obviously, especially on this platform, they don't. Or you wouldn't have videos that talk about we're all Americans and it should have the same opportunities being suppressed to single-digit views on a platform with millions and millions of users. According to the Constitution, things like that shouldn't happen. Yet they do. In favor of a political ideology that, let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, is anti-American and against the Constitution. So here's my opinion. If Bud Light is that stupid to run that kind of ad campaign and so out of touch with what the American public believes or thinks, that's their problem. That's their stupidity. And that should affect their bottom line. And if they lose so much money that they go out of business, so be it. Lesson learned about how to operate in a free market system when the majority of the American public obviously isn't down with what you're throwing out there. On the other hand, everyone can take this as a lesson on how to deal with corporations who support the woke agenda. Leave. Don't buy their products. Don't use their platforms. So forth and so on. I don't agree with YouTube policy, yet I still use it. In the end, even for me, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to have to decide how I'm going to operate going forward, because obviously, based on the views, the numbers, the responses, and so forth and so on, I find myself in disagreement with this platform about where this country should go and what goes on in this country. So I have to make a decision on that, and I would suggest everyone use this current Bud Light situation as an example of just how to deal with it when someone comes out with ideas or philosophies that we don't like. We could have avoided all of this, every bit of it, if only we had the courage to say no and not buy their products, not use their services, and so forth and so on. And they would come back to the way it used to be, because that way works. They don't have any incentive to change their policies, because we keep going back to use their products and services after they say the most ridiculous, un-American things most of us have ever heard. But what do I know? I'm just some past my prime mechanic driving around in an over 40-year-old Japanese car that everybody else in my community said was junk. Oh yeah, and I've been driving this car for about 7 years since then. So what do I know? You know what I know? I know what works and what doesn't. What's feasible and what isn't. What fits and what doesn't. YouTube doesn't work with me. They screw with me. Because I believe that we're all Americans and that we should all have an equal voice, no matter where we come from, what our background, what our skin color might be, or what we might believe. So, what's my incentive to stay here? That's the question that keeps popping through my mind today. I should be supporting the people who see it as I see it. I should be using the products that promote what I believe. And I shouldn't be using the products that don't. How about you?